Good afternoon. Welcome to Africa Today. I am Wisdom Onisi. First, the headlines. Federal government. Now the news in details. Federal government has approved the final payment of 280 billion naira for completing the Bodo-Bani Road project. The Minister of Works, Nweze David Mahi, disclosed this yesterday during an inspection visit to the project site. Umahi, in a statement by his special advisor on media, Oji Uchenna Oji, warned that the contractor handling the project must work around the clock to beat the project's delivery timeline of December 2024. He expressed reservation over the contractor's handling of the Bodo-Bani project, insisting that the amount paid must correspond with the project's completion. He urged the contractors to ensure that no further excuses were given on the project's delivery timeline. The federal government would not approve additional funds for the project for any reason of violation whatsoever. Away from that, the Nigerian Center for Disease Control and Prevention might declare an emergency on the outbreak of cholera in the country. The NCDC Director General Jide Idris, who spoke in Lagos, said the center was monitoring the situation and might declare an emergency if data showed that the outbreak had gone beyond manageable threshold. Nigeria battles a cholera outbreak in 30 states. The World Health Organization, the United Nations Children's Fund, and the International Organization for Migration had an emergency meeting in Lagos on Tuesday. The WHO country representative Walter Mulumbo disclosed this on his X handle. The NCDC, in its recent report, said from January 1st to June 11, 2024, over 1,141 suspected and over 665 confirmed. Away from that, the Director General of the National Agency for Food and Drug Administration and Control, Moji Adeyeye, said the ban on the sale and consumption of such alcoholic beverages in the country is still in force. Adeyeye said this on Wednesday at a press briefing held in Lagos via Zoom. Her declaration was in sharp contrast to the announcement by the House of Representatives last week that the ban had been suspended. The NAFDAC DG acknowledged that there was a meeting with the legislators on the matter, but said there was not yet a conclusion that the ban be lifted. When we return, news from other parts of West Africa. Please stay with us. Now news from other parts of West Africa. The National Democratic Congress NDC flag bearer in Ghana, John Mahama, has joined the ongoing debate over whether obtaining a Dutch passport is better than a PhD in Ghana. The former president attributed the widespread despair among citizens to the economic hardships caused by the current government. He insisted that such a debate should not even exist, arguing that there is no basis for such a comparison. Speaking during a public lecture in Kumasi on the theme, Sustainability of Democracy in Africa, the Ghanaian Experience, Mahama highlighted that the debate reflects a significant loss of confidence and hope in Ghana's future. He argued that the presidency should not be entrusted to individuals responsible for the current economic hardships in the country, asserting that the only way to sustain democracy in Ghana and Africa is through leadership that prioritizes truth and honesty to the citizens. Away from that, Cyril Ramaphosa was sworn in for a second full term as South African president in a ceremony in the administrative capital, Pretoria. His inauguration as head of a multi-party government comes just 3 weeks after elections in which his African National Congress failed to secure a majority for the first time since the end of apartheid. The party subsequently made a deal with its long-term rival, the opposition Democratic Alliance, and other parties to form a coalition government. Addressing the nation, Ramaphosa said the country had begun a new era and pledged that his government would work to improve basic living conditions for all citizens. Affirming his commitment to work with all parties represented in the government of national unity, Ramaphosa warned that unless it addressed deep inequalities, the country could become unstable. We move to other parts of Africa after this break. Please stay with us.
This is Hills TV. Quality broadcasting is what we'll bring to you. Now we be this
Welcome back. The Deputy Special Representatives and Political Officer for the United Nations Support Mission in Libya, Stephanie Corey, said her ongoing consultation in the East and West is overwhelming, noting that there is need for a political agreement so that credible national election can be held to restore legitimacy to all institutions. The need for more decentralization, inclusiveness, fairness, and transparency was widely expressed. Libyans are calling for a national political solution and local election. But 10 of 12 in-person registration centers in the eastern municipalities have been prevented from opening. She urged the authorities to allow them to open. Away from that, as fighting in Sudan between the army and the paramilitary rapid support forces rages on, the United Nations says the world is in a race against time to avert a massive loss life. UN Assistant Secretary General for Africa, Martha Ama Kia Bobby, said Sudan risks stressed his government's commitment to resolve the situation. The government of Sudan is committed to international humanitarian law, including during military operations. The Sudanese armed forces are committed to the rules of engagement. Up next is business. Please stay with us.
This is Hills TV. Quality broadcasting is what we'll bring to you. Now we be this soul.
Welcome back now to business news. 3 million poor and vulnerable households in Nigeria have benefited from the 800 million US dollars palliative loan disbursed by the World Bank to cushion the effect of recent government policies such as the fuel subsidy removal. Of these beneficiaries, 700,000 households were from 652 urban wards have been covered through the targeting system developed under the project. Away from that, investors are optimistic in South Africa's new unity government. Tackle high level of unemployment and inequality. Investors and credit rating agencies see two biggest parties in the unity government agreeing on more liberal economic policies, but they could struggle to overcome their ideological differences. Still to come is sport. Please stay with us. Welcome back now to sport news. Two players are set to leave Real Madrid this week. According to football transfer expert Fabrizio Romano, they are Rafa Marin and Alex Jimenez. Marin will sign for Napoli on a permanent deal worth around 10 million euro, while the La Liga side will receive 5 million euro from AC Milan for Jimenez. Both deals are expected to contain buyback clauses. Away from that, on cricket, England produced their best performance of the T20 World Cup so far to begin the Super 8 stage with a composed 8-wicket win against West Indies, having cunningly restricted the previously unbeaten co-hosts to 180 fall on a good pitch. With 70 needed from 7 overs, Bustall struck a 6 and a 4 before hitting 15 of the 6 runs in the next over bowled by spinner Akel Hossain. Sot then crushed an over from Sima Romano Shepherd for 30 runs as England won at Cantal and perhaps significantly boosted their net run rate. They played South Africa in less than 48 hours, knowing a win would probably seal their progression to the semi-finals. And that's your sport news on Africa Today. We move to the rest of the news after this break. Stay with us.
This is News TV. Quality broadcasting is what we'll bring to you. Now we be this
Welcome back now to the rest of the news. Somalia's government is seeking to slow the withdrawal of African peacekeepers and warning of a potential security vacuum. Documents seen by newsmen with neighboring countries threaten that resurgent Al-Shabaab militants could seize power. The African Union Transition Mission in Somalia, a peacekeeping force, is committed to withdrawing by December 31, when a smaller new force is expected to replace it. The European Union and United ATMIS said there was no definitive timeline for including negotiations, but that all parties were committed to an agreement that helps achieve sustainable peace and security. And that's Africa Today, but before we go, here are the headlines again. We told you that remember to visit us on Facebook at His TV. I am Wisdom Onisi. Thanks for watching.